Ladies and gentlemen, yes, the fucking king, Alexander fucking Volkanovski, he's done it. I can't believe this is real life. No, I can't believe it because I don't want to say I told you so, but I came in here and I said I came in here and I told you exactly how this fight would play out, and I almost called it to a T. I said that there would possibly be a 50-45, and in my opinion, I don't think there's a huge argument to say that it wasn't a 50-45. I mean, if anything, it was the knockdown that Diego Lopes had, but that's about it. I think Alexander Volkanovski dominated this fight, and the world is right. This fight was never supposed to happen in the first place, and not to say that Diego Lopes isn't the good guy, but the gooder, the best guy won. The guy that's in high GOAT numbered conversations. It was just easy. He made it look easy. But enough of the main event. I'll get into it a little bit. I'm here to talk about the takeaways of UFC 325, more specifically the winners. And if you saw my video, my previous video, which not a lot of you did, I only had 11 views. Yeah, Fox, compared to the Patty and Gaethje video where I predicted Patty Pimblett to win. 100 plus people saw that. Probably my most viewed video besides my GOAT video. Everyone decides to watch that, but no one decides to watch me. I kind of break down and really predict the fight bar for bar on the Volk and Lopez one. But that's what YouTube does. That's the YouTube algorithm. And I got four out of the main card fights right. Want to give my props to Rufy, and I'll do that here in a little bit. But yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Guys, I think it's quite simple at this point. There is really no denying, at least resume-wise, which I always have said is the main factor in GOAT conversation, that Volkanovski has a top 4 resume of all time. And so I believe he is a top 4 UFC MMA fighter of all time at worst. Actually, I wouldn't say at worst. I'll take back my point right here. Not at worst. But I really don't think there's an argument for you to say that he's not top 5. Maybe if you have a Mighty Mouse. I'd say the only guy you could really put above him would be like a Mighty Mouse. But not even. I wouldn't even say that. So I think Volkanovski is a top 4 fighter of all time. By far. Not by far, but I think he's tougher. I keep retracting, but he just has too many good wins against fighters that have proven that they're elite and modern day fighters. And he's beat a guy like Max Holloway, who I have in my top 15 of all time as well, 3 times. So it's like you can't really deny him anymore at this point. This guy's a fucking GOAT. And I think the next point we really have to hit is, have we seen Diego Lopes hit his peak? I mean, you looked at this fight, and the difference between the Volk fight, the Jean Silva fight, and this second Volk fight was basically nothing. Nothing really changed about his plan, his game plan, his footwork. Volk was able to circle him even better than he did the first time. And Diego Lopes had nothing for him. He really had nothing for him, like I said, besides that one knockdown. And I don't think it swayed it enough to where you would say that he even won the round. So, like I said, I think this was a 50-45 by Volk. Diego Lopes didn't really show any improvements in his game whatsoever. He tried to implement his kicks a lot more, and he ended up fucking breaking both of his feet. And you could kind of tell, I feel like you could tell a specific one. I think it was in the 4th or 5th round with that left calf kick that he tried, and he kind of started stumbling on that or I think he was southpaw at that point. Or no, I'm fucking tripping. He was orthodox at that point, and you kind of saw him start to wobble a little bit, and maybe that's what derailed him from doing it, but you really didn't see anything more than you saw in his last 2 fights. and Volk just put up a fucking masterclass on him. A lot less volume than we saw in the first fight, but I think it was Volk was trying to be more strategic. He was trying to make sure that he won the fight in front of his fans, and he really didn't have to do that much. I mean, Lopez didn't have that much volume in the first fight or even in this one, and people are giving Volk shit for not having a lot of volume. But if he didn't have to have the volume, if he was getting the harder punches, because besides the knockdown and a couple other exchanges, Volk was landing some crazy overhands, as you see right here. He was busting Diego Lopes up, and I think it was a fucking masterclass. I think Volk really put one on him, and I don't know if Diego Lopes ever improves from now. I think he's 32 at this point, so we definitely could see some improvements, but I really don't think Diego Lopes will ever battle for the title or ever win the title, and especially not battle for it here in the near future. Unless they fucking just run it back. They're like, fuck it. You know, we'll put the fucking third fight, because why the fuck not? Because we've been fucking stupid and doing it every time. So, yeah, and then the next point is that Volk is by far the featherweight GOAT. I don't want to fucking hear this Jose Aldo, this and that. Jose Aldo had so many title defenses. Guys, title defenses mean something if it's against good fucking guys. Volk is out here beating Max Holloway 3 times, beating Lopez twice, beating Brian Ortega, which is aging really bad, but he beat Yair Rodriguez, a Korean zombie that Aldo also has in his column. And not to mention, Volk beat Aldo. And Max Holloway, who Volk beat 3 times, knocked out Jose Aldo twice. So I just don't want to hear it anymore. If you think that Aldo is a featherweight GOAT, go fucking watch boxing. You're clearly stuck in the past. So, yeah, I don't want to hear that discourse anymore. I don't fucking want to hear it, alright? And my last point here is how good is Topuria and Islam. I mean, we've seen Volk 50-45 these guys. And those 2 guys were able to go out there and outfight IQ him. Out game plan him. Which is, I think Volk is one of the best game planners of all time. If not the best game planner of all time. Because Islam Makhachev was able, and I don't even want to bring up the knockout, because obviously it was a compromised Volk. It was a Volk that really shouldn't have been in there, but I don't know, he was trying to prove a point, or I don't know what he was trying to do. But you look at that first fight, and Islam clearly beat him 3-2. Go back and watch it. Islam clearly beat him 3-2, and Ilia Topuria was just able to go out there and land the perfect punch against Volk, which not anyone else has been able to do, with the exception of that second fight and against Islam. And it wasn't even a punch; it was a kick. It was a high kick, as you guys know. So we really have to sit back and think about. I mean, I think Islam is the GOAT of the sport. We'll have to make another GOAT video, and I think Ilia Topuria is a top 6-7 fighters of all time. So you can tell just by the way they've performed against Volk. And I think if Topuria can get a little bit more substance, a little bit more quantity in his wins, because the quality we know he already has, unless he fights Islam and he knocks him out and he retires, just fucking call him the GOAT of the sport. I don't care. But yeah, you really have to think about how good those 2 guys are and appreciate them, and fucking also appreciate Volk, because he was able to go out there and have a really close matchup with Islam, and he won that first round against fucking Topuria. And you really wonder, you don't wonder. Topuria knocks him out either way. That punch that he landed knocks out anyone. But yeah, great main event. I was happy. I think the world was happy. That fucking walkout was electric, so it was a great sight to see. Moving on. BSD finishing Dan Hooker in the second round, as I exactly predicted. Go fucking back and watch it. I had Benoit Saint-Denis for a second round finish. Most likely ground and pound, I said. and that's exactly what he did. Maybe not too hard to predict. Maybe a lot of people were predicting the same, but hey, I guessed the round and I guessed the method. So fuck y'all. Don't give me shit for picking Paddy Pimblett. Paddy the fucking Batty, man. Over Justin Gaethje. I got these picks right. And I think the main thing we take away is that BSD is now certifiably in that second tier of lightweights. I don't think he's quite in that same tier of your Ilia Toporias, your Arman Sarukians, your Max Holloways, and I think Charles you could throw in there as well. I don't quite think he's in that tier, but I think he's in that Paddy, Justin Gaethje, and I think I'll talk about it in a little bit. You might even be able to throw Roofy in there now of lightweights, tier of lightweights. So, yeah, it's a great performance from BSD. Dan Hooker, I think, won that first round. He was using that body kick up the middle really well and kind of compromised BSD to the body. I was like, wow, we could see Dan Hooker win. As I said, if he was able to sustain not being taken down, I think we could see Dan Hooker winning. But obviously, that did not end up happening as we predicted. And I don't think Dan Hooker will ever be able to beat another top 7 lightweight. I don't want to say he's exactly washed because I think he had his moments in the fight. Like I said, I think he won the first round with those body kicks, that combinations he had with the boxing. But I think the top 7 lightweights are just too talented now at this point for a guy that has a style like Dan Hooker and the miles that he has on him. So yeah, I just don't see him beating another top 7 lightweight. He barely scraped by Mateus Gamrot, and that brought him back up in the rankings. But I think he's hit his peak. And have fun, have fun fighting those top 15 guys. He's gonna put up great fights, but just not in the upper echelon. And I hope they throw him with some more fun fights, some better fights. And you really wonder what would have happened if he actually fought Justin Gaethje at 313. It would have been interesting. And finally, I think BSD has to improve the striking for us to say that he has championship potential, because like I said, that first round, I don't want to say Dan Hooker was piecing up BSD, but he was making life tough for him. With those kicks up the middle. I think that Dan Hooker was winning the boxing exchanges, and I really think that BSD only had the advantage once he took him down, and Dan Hooker put himself in a really bad spot trying to go for that. I believe it was a guillotine. So I don't know what the hell he was thinking. And he put himself on bottom right after that too. So not sure what he was thinking there. But Dan Hooker was having some success. And if Dan Hooker was having some success, I think guys like Justin Gaethje, which like I said, I do believe they're in the same tier. But I think Justin Gaethje would have more success. Obviously, I think Max Holloway, Arman with the mix of the grappling and the striking. And I just think Arman is a better striker. And obviously, Ilia Topuria, he's not going to be able to stand there with those guys. So I just think he has to improve the striking to have champ potential. And we could still see it. He is a young guy. I believe he's still in his 20s. So, yeah, he needs to get in the gym. Maybe take a trip to Thailand. Although that doesn't really fit his style. Maybe take a trip to fucking Mexico with the boxers and just see what he can do. But yeah, it was a really great win for BSD. I'm glad that he won. Like I said, he had the momentum going for him, and I think he took full advantage of it. Kind of a favorable matchup, but hey, you take that win. He proved that he could be with the elites, and he kind of proved that Poirier fight was maybe just a step up a little bit too soon, and now he's beating a good striker in Dan Hooker. And we'll see what's next for him, man. It's going to be exciting. And now you kind of look back on that Roofy fight and just wonder, what was going on there for him to dominate as much as he did. Because we look at this fight, and man, I think Roofy is the top 4 striker in lightweight. I was disrespecting him. I'm not going to lie. I predicted Rafael Fiziev to beat him by decision. That was never in the books. Roofy was just piecing him up for the whole fight, basically, until he got the knockdown. Fiziev having some success with the body kicks, with the Muay Thai that we thought he would, those calf kicks. But the boxing never got going. He never got going with the boxing as much as I thought he would. I just thought he would have better success in those close ranges. And he really didn't. He, like I said, he was using that body kick really well, but it didn't really seem to affect Roofy. But man, Rufi really showed levels to this shit, because we talk about Rafael Fiziev as a really talented striker with maybe not a lot of power, but the talent is there. And Rufi was fucking piecing him up. He was using the jab. He was using the jab really, really well with that range that he has. He's a big lightweight. So you wonder, if he possesses the biggest challenge for Ilya. No, okay, I'm not going to go there. But like I said, I do think he is a top 4 striker. I think he's a better striker. You see, the only ones I would confidently put above him would be Topuria, Max Holloway. And man, in terms of pure striking, I really think those are the other 2 guys that you would confidently put above Rufi. I just think he's able to get you with the jab, with the boxing, as we saw in this fight, especially if you're a smaller guy. He was fucking up Rufi's, fucking Fiziev's nose real bad, as we saw. And I think the kicks are there. He has power in his kicks. He has power in his hands. And man, it's a great, great combination for Rufi. And going with my second point, I really see a world where he could challenge for the title before BST. We talk about just the aura, the Fighting Nerds aura that he had, and I was saying he was overrated just because he's in the Fighting Nerds, and I think this fight really proved me wrong. I'll be the first one to admit. And I really see a world where he could challenge before BST, because he could get a really flashy knockout in a number 1 contender-esque fight. And BST, I think, gets beat by those top-tier guys. So I really think that Rufi could get that knockdown that he needs, or that knockout that he needs. Not fluke him, but against the Max Holloway, I mean, I'm talking crazy right now, but I think against the Max Holloway, why not? Why couldn't we see Rafael, or, oh my God, I'm getting these guys' name mixed up. We could see Rufi, land a KO punch, a KO kick, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this guy's going to fucking fight for the title. So don't call me crazy. Don't think it's crazy if he challenges to the title before BST. But I think Fiziev's, that was a really bad transition. And ultimately, when it comes to Fiziev, I think he's always just going to be a top 10 guy. He was always just a top 10 guy. He never really made it up too far in the rankings. Got knocked out by I think, Mateusz Gamrot. So, yeah, he was always going to be in that fringe top 10. But I think ultimately he needs to move to featherweight. His frame is just too small. He doesn't have the power that the Ilya Topuria possesses. He doesn't obviously have the grappling that Arman Tsarukyan possesses to match the muscle. So he's jacked, yeah, but he just doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the actual body strength to be able to compete with these guys in lightweight, I believe. So, yeah, move to featherweight wouldn't be bad at all. I thought he was rumored to do it at some point. And I think he should have done it, but I think this fight really showed that he should make that move. And I think he would be really successful in featherweight. I think he could make a top 5 run in featherweight. So, yeah, very good fight. These fights were good. These fights delivered. And Rufi's in there in the top 10 now. And I'm glad. He has a fun fighting style. He has that Conor-esque karate stance, which we all love. So I'm excited to see his future. But we talk about good fights. This was a fucking stinker, man. Ew, fucking stinker, man. Man, besides the guys in the title picture, heavyweight just sucks ass. And I really don't think I need to explain myself too much further. We saw that fight. Fucking stinker. Teixeira, fair play. He was able to use his grappling and really... And I think that really tired him out, but I also tired out fucking Tai 2 fat boy Tuivasa. And I wouldn't be mad at all if you just fucking cut both of them. You know, it really makes you wonder the state of the heavyweight division, which is why I have the next point up of, should we fucking allow steroids in heavyweight? Because, damn, that was a fucking stinker. You know, it was just kind of a pitter-patter fight until Teixeira decided to take Tuivasa down. And besides that, I mean, fair play to Tuivasa. He had his moments in the third round. I think he won that fight, the round in the third round. He had a couple moments where you were like, oh shit, he kind of has Teixeira hurt. But besides that, he had no real success. He looked like the fat blob that he is. And the reason why I couldn't pick him. And I thought Teixeira would knock him out, but fair play to Tuivasa. He's always had a pretty good chin. And he really didn't get it tested this fight, but yeah, Teixeira's not going anywhere far in this division at all. I don't think he's going to crack the top 5 or 6 here, like I said, ever. Maybe he cracks one of them, but I think he loses the next fight. But I wouldn't even say that. I think you put him up against a top 5 fighter, or Volkov and Almeida. Let's see here. Cyril Gane, obviously. Who else is up there? Why am I forgetting the names? Sergey Pavlovich. All those guys beat him. All those guys, I think, maybe even knock him out, like Derek Lewis was able to do. So, kind of a stinker of a fight. It's a shame. You know, you expect these heavyweights to have fireworks, especially both of these fights that we've seen in the main card of these back-to-back events. And it just hasn't really been that. And I think that hopefully we're able to see better fights for these heavyweights. But yeah, just a couple of stinkers these heavyweights have put up. And yeah, but just fucking cut both of these guys, to be honest. If Tai Tuivasa couldn't do it, Shui, where would he be at? I don't know. Moving up, I'm only going to talk about the main card. You know, I want to give props to the guys in the prelims and in the early prelims. I mean, we had a robbery and 3 road to the UFC fights, which I'll be honest, I didn't see. Call me a casual. I didn't really care for them, but like I said, I'm only talking about the main card, and the last fight I'm going to talk about is Quillen fucking Salkeld, man. Getting it done against Jamie Mullarkey. I said he was looking sad. He was looking sad the whole fight. And he's still looking sad now that he's black and white. And man, I'm really excited for this Quillen Salkeld kid. I think we have a legit lightweight prospect in our hands. I think he has a great mix of striking and grappling to be able to put up a fight with pretty much anyone, you know, on his level at least. So I think we get him with a borderline ranked or a ranked guy next. He has a really good all-around game, and I think he's able to not take the fight where he wants, but I think he's able to adapt and wherever the fight's at. So even if he is being the nail instead of the hammer, I think he'll be able to adjust. And we know he has hands. We know he has kicks. He has the subs. He has the takedowns. And, you know, we don't want to talk about this win as a crazy win because it is Jamie Mullarkey. And like I have right here, he's forever going to be a prospect builder. Knocked out by Rufi. I think BSD also beat him as well. So, you know, you only take a Jamie Mullarkey win with a grain of salt. But I think just the levels that Salkeld was able to show, I think was really impressive, and especially getting done in Australia and in his home turf was great. He's got personality. He's got, you know, a cool fucking style. He's a gambler, so, you know, he's a degenerate like us, guys. Like us, yes, us, not just me. I'm talking about us. But yeah, I'm excited to see where they put him up against, or who they put him up against next. I think he could have a quick turnaround. He obviously likes to fight. He doesn't mind a quick turnaround. So, yeah, get him in there. Get him in there with someone soon. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone. I think Manuel El Loco Torres fight would actually be a really good one now that I'm thinking about it. That would be a really good fight. But yeah, really good win. Sub, first round. Let's fucking go, Quillen Salkeld. And yeah, guys, that was my takeaways from UFC 325. Overall, I'd say it was a really good card. I'd give it a 8.3 out of 10 to be precise. Come on, man. Fucking Volk did it like I fucking told you guys. Let's go, man. Let's fucking go. I'm so glad he did it, man. Like, I love Diego Lopes. I love his fighting style, like I said. But just to see him champ over against a guy like Volk, and I think if he won, it would have been a knockout. That would have just been too painful, especially in Australia. I'm glad he got it done. I went 4 for 5 in my picks. Great fucking time. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to be consistent. I'm trying to get the videos out when I can. I know, again, probably not the most ideal time to get this video out 3 days after the card, but to my 5 subscribers, I hope you guys are watching this and wanted to hear my input. And yeah, that was it for me. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.